Well, that was so pretty, gang, that I wanted to give that one a chance to finish. So, Russ, great job on that selection there. That was a beautiful piece there. Thank you very much. Okay, gang, let's get started. So, I was putting together a list here, and I want to read this list to you and just let the list kind of settle in. Let it resonate with you. Rising inflation, the highest that we've seen in 50 years. Rising interest rates. The stock market falling. The Dow's down by 6% year to date. The S&P 500 is down over 13%. War in Ukraine. Supply chain issues. There's political upheaval. If you miss things over the weekend, there's a lot going on. The shifting economy. Seeing all sorts of crazy numbers coming out in terms of the economy. And then add on top of that, anything that you might be dealing with on a personal level, just personal issues. So I just want you to think about that list. Now, I could go on with the list. We could add more things to it, but we don't have time. Quite frankly, I just got bored of writing all these things down. But I just think about all those things: rising interest rates, rising inflation, stock market falling, war in Ukraine, supply chain issues, political upheaval, the shifting economy, the shifting market, all of those things, plus your personal issues. If you think about all of those things and kind of just let those things settle in, right? What do those things lead to? I want you to think about that. All of those things, what do they ultimately lead to? Somebody give me an idea. Shout out a word.
Negativity.
Negativity. Okay, I like it. Negativity. That's not that I like negativity, but I think that's a great answer. It leads to negativity. And when you focus on all those things, is it easy to become negative?
Absolutely.
The answer is yes. What else?
Fear.
Fear. Okay. Yeah, Amelia, fear. So uncertainty, fear. What else? Pessimism. I like it. Okay. Pessimism. Not that I like pessimism, but I like the answer. So fear, uncertainty, pessimism. Okay, look, all of these things are going to lead to any of those negative terms that we can come up with. And I think one of the scariest ones is just, quite frankly, is fear or uncertainty. It really translates into what? A lack of confidence. See, if you focus on all of those things, doesn't it make sense that it's going to lead to a lack of confidence? Uncertainty, focusing on all of those things, so much of which you don't control, right? Uncertainty leads to a lack of confidence. So the question is, and I just want you to ponder this, what's the solution to that? Wait for things to get better? Wait for the inflation rate to fall? Wait for interest rates to go back down? Wait for the stock market to recover? Wait for the war to end in Ukraine? Wait for the supply chain issues to get corrected? Wait for the political upheaval to end? Ha, ha, ha. Wait for the economy to stop shifting and to get on firmer ground? And then you take a look at the list of your personal issues, wait for those things to correct themselves? Is that the solution? And of course, the answer is what? What's the answer? Are we going to wait for those things?
No.
No, because waiting for those things to change means that ultimately we've given up what?
Hope in our power.
Yeah, we've given up our power. Look, gang, you're in a very competitive market right now. We are, as a brokerage, are in a very competitive industry right now, more competitive than it's ever been. Gang, I've never seen it as competitive as it is now in my last 30 years. And I'm here to tell you, that's not going to change. It's only going to intensify. So if you think about that, if you think about the uncertainty, you think about the fear, you think about the pessimism, you think about the lack of confidence that all of that breeds. I've got a question for you. What is the number one value that you offer your clients? Think about it. I mean, I know we've got the brand Century 21. I know we talk about all the great gizmos and gadgets that a brokerage can offer, right? Plus all the space and bringing clients into, like great space and into a professional environment. But ultimately, what is it? What's the number one value that you offer your client?
Leadership.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that answer, Brandon. But what specifically about leadership? I mean, what typifies leadership? What What's a primary component of leadership?
You help them focus on the right things. You have to know what it is that they want. It's natural reaction to hesitate, to come up with reasons and excuses, not to be decisive and not to jump on the opportunities that you know are important to you.
Okay, yes, and you're spot on. It's just that there's a word that I'm looking for. If you're helping them focus, you're helping them really gather what? What do they need in order to move forward boldly? In order to, yes, confidence. It's confidence. Gang, the number one thing that you offer to your clients is your certainty, your confidence. And I say this consistently, you can't give to others what you don't possess. You know, we're in such a competitive market, and all of you are looking for solutions to these challenges. I'm telling you, the number one solution to all the challenges that we face in this world and that you face personally is certainty. And you might say, well, but John, with all of those things going on, how can I be certain? How is it that I can be certain when interest rates are rising, when inflation is rising, when there's war, when the stock market's falling, when there are supply chain issues, when there's political upheaval, when the economy's shifting? And I've got all of these issues with my health or with my family or with my finances. How is it that I can be confident? How can I be certain? How is it that I can offer those people that I want to serve certainty or confidence? What's the answer to that? And getting the answer, it's very simple. It's shifting your focus. It's stopping looking at those things and looking at the things that ultimately matter. Because you might say, you might think, you may have convinced yourself that all of those things matter. And I'm here to tell you they don't. They only matter if you give them import, if you give them value, if you give them weight, if you give them life. See, gang, we have a tendency to get what we focus on. So if you want to increase your certainty in an uncertain world, if you want to increase your certainty in an uncertain life, then shift your focus. Shift your focus from the things that you don't control as well as from your problems. Because I'm not here to tell you don't have problems. We all have challenges. I get that. And some of those challenges we do control, but most of them we don't. But I'm here to say that if you want to increase your certainty, your confidence, shift your focus from the things you don't control, as well as from your problems, and focus on this one thing: solutions. It's such a simple but very powerful technique. Stop focusing on the problems and start focusing on the solutions. I want to give you 3 things this morning that you can take with you, that I promise you that if you'll do these things, that it doesn't matter what's happening with that laundry list of challenges, of problems, of all that uncertainty. If you'll just simply do these 3 things, you will be able to go out into the marketplace and differentiate yourself from your clients. And quite frankly, you'll be able to go out into life and differentiate yourself and be the leader that you want yourself to be, that you need yourself to be to live the life that you want. Not just to be a great real estate agent, but to ultimately live the life that you want. So what are those 3 things? The number one thing that I wrote down is this: identify the outcome that you want. And you might say, well, that seems like a really simple answer. Well, it is. Well, it seems like it's really basic, John. Is that really the answer? It is. You know, success in life is really not that complicated. What I see real estate agents do, and we do it because we're human, because humans do this, is that they overcomplicate the simple. They can't believe that it's as simple as fill in the blank. Again, if you'll just simply identify what you want, that does a very powerful thing. It allows you to shift your focus from the challenges or the problems to ultimately the thing that excites you, that you want your life to become. In whatever area we're talking about, but let's talk specifically about real estate. Identify the outcome that you want Instead of focusing on all the challenges in the marketplace and what clients are saying or not saying, how about you just simply focus on what it is that you want and what you want to create? You know, one of my favorite stories about this is when John F. Kennedy said that they were going to put a man on the moon, and everybody freaked out over that because, you know, the United States didn't have the capacity to do that. And the number one thing that he did that ensured that we put a man on the moon is he got everybody to stop focusing on the reasons why it wasn't possible and started focusing on the things that were possible, and ultimately what it is that he wanted for the nation, which was to put a man on the moon. And when he got the nation to shift its focus from all the challenges and all the problems and all the uncertainty to the things that they wanted, and then identifying the solutions, then they worked very quickly towards, and I say quickly, it was quickly, quite frankly, to go from, you know, barely having the capacity to put a metal piece into space to putting human cargo on the moon in less than a decade. That's amazing, gang. It's unbelievable. But it happened because he was able to allow the country, to lead the country to shift its focus, to identify the outcome that he wanted and the nation wanted. So stop looking at the things that you don't want. I mean, just think about this. If you're a skier and you're going down the slope, Brandon, you did this year, you're on the slope. The last thing that you want to do is to focus on the trees. The last thing that you want to do is to focus specifically on another skier. What you want to do is focus on what? The pathway that you want to go down. You want to look far enough ahead, a long distance down, you know, when you're traveling 30, 40 miles an hour on a couple of waxed skis, and making certain that you look at the pathway that you want, not the trees that you don't want to hit, not the other skiers that you don't want to hit. Stop looking at the trees, stop looking at the people, and start looking at the path. I mean, when you're on a bike, for example, you don't look at the potholes. You don't look at the obstacles, you look at the pathway. When you're in a car, you don't look at the wall, you don't look at the median, you look at the pathway. You focus on where you want to go. Well, life is no different. And the challenge is for most people and most real estate agents, they focus on the places they don't want to go. They focus on the challenges, they focus on the obstacles. Gang, seek it and you will find. And that is true no matter what you seek. And the challenge is for most people, they're seeking the wrong things. So really, truly identify what is the outcome that you want. What do you want things to look like? How many transactions do you really want to close? On a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on a yearly basis. Focus on that. Focus on what it's going to take to make that happen. Which leads me to point number 2. When you're going to shift your focus from the things you don't control and the problems, do this: identify the fundamentals. Identify the fundamentals. Identify the solutions. The solutions, gang, are always obvious. They are. They're always obvious. As I said earlier, real estate agents have this knack of overcomplicating things, making real estate more complicated than it is. It is not that complicated. Identify ultimately the fundamentals. Let me give you an example where this is so simple. Let me ask you a question. If you want to increase the number of sides you close, what's the number one solution to that? And Amelia and Brandon, I don't want you to give the answer because I know you two know this answer. I want to hear from an agent or two. If you want to do more sides, what's the number one solution to that? Well, don't all answer at once. You're overwhelming me. Talk to more people. Yes, that is the answer. Now, of course, the question is, how did you know that? Well, because the fundamentals are always obvious. They're not a mystery. They're simple. You want to close more sites, talk to more people. Let me ask you this question. Let's get out of the real estate realm. You want to lose weight. What's the answer? What's the number one answer to losing weight?
Eat less.
Eat less. Yes. Get healthy, eat better, exercise. Yes. See, the solutions, the fundamentals are always very obvious. They are. It's just that sometimes we don't like what?
The answer.
That's right. Sometimes we don't like the answer. But gang, let me tell you something. Life doesn't care whether you like the answers or not. Success doesn't care whether you like the answers or not. It's just the answers are the answers. It's like taking a test in school and you tell the teacher, well, these are the answers I gave. Well, those are the wrong answers. Well, why did you give those answers? Because I didn't like the other answers. I like these answers. Well, those are the wrong answers. So you failed the test. How about you want to increase your mental health? You want to be healthier, more confident, mentally, emotionally. What's the number one answer to that? I mean, what's the fundamental solution to that? Boy, at this point, you should know. Everybody should be jumping and screaming, hitting that button.
Protect your mindset.
Yeah. Fill your brain with good stuff. Protect your mindset. Gang, look, stop focusing on the challenges and start focusing on the solutions. And the solutions are always obvious, as evidenced by the fact that we just went through these basic questions, this little exercise, and you all gave great answers. Hey, Jesus, you say take action. Yes. One of the number one things that you can do to improve your mindset is to stop wallowing in your misery and being stuck and just simply take action, move forward. Moving forward lets you see further down the pathway. And when you see further down the pathway, your confidence increases. Great answer. And then the last thing that I want you to write down is this: just be grateful. And you've heard me talk about this like ad nauseum, like over and over and over again. Why does he always talk about this? Can't he talk about something else? Can't he move on from that? And the answer is no, because that's the answer to the question. How do you increase your self-confidence? How do you eliminate uncertainty? How do you eliminate fear? One of the most powerful antidotes to uncertainty and fear is to be grateful. So gang, look, if you'll identify the outcomes that you want, truly understand what it is that you want, whether we're talking your business, your health, your relationships, and start focusing on that, and then ask yourself the question, well, what are the fundamentals to achieving that? What are the solutions to those things? And you already know the solutions to those things. They're not a mystery. And then if you'll just simply take an accounting of what it is you already have to be grateful for, because gang, we all have so much to be grateful for. And if you will build from there, if you will move forward from that point, focusing on what it is that you have to be grateful for, as opposed to all of your problems, all of your challenges, all the reasons why you can claim to be a victim, whether justified or unjustified, doesn't do any good. I don't care if you're justifiably a victim. It doesn't do you any good to claim you're a victim. Doesn't do you any good to say, well, it's not my fault, or it's not within my control that interest rates are rising, or that inflation's rising, or that inventories are low. Okay, focused on the wrong things. Identify the outcomes that you want, identify the fundamentals, identify your solutions, and be grateful. And if you'll do those things, I promise you, you will go out into the marketplace and offer to your clients the very thing that they need. Because here's the thing, all of those things that we've talked about, all of these challenges that we've talked about, your clients are going through the same thing. And here's the challenge. Here's the interesting part. They're not in an environment that helps them to see these solutions. They're not working on a daily basis on their mindset. They're stuck in that routine, that pattern of focusing on the negativity, of getting on their phone and seeing all the negative headlines, and focusing on all the reasons why they should be scared. And it's your job, it's your opportunity as a leader to come to them with certainty, with absolute certainty, clarity, to give them what it is that they don't possess, which is certainty. And if you'll do that, that is the number one way that you'll separate yourself from the competition and get people to choose you versus their other options. Gang, I don't care what the market looks like. I've seen some bad markets over the last 30 years. I don't care what the market looks like. It is my experience that those agents, those leaders who bring to the market, who bring to their conversations, who bring to their clients certainty, will always have enough business, always have enough business. So instead of worrying about the things you don't control, start focusing on the number one thing that you do, and that is your certainty. You know how to build it. We've talked about it. Now just simply work on that on a daily basis and go out there and lead, make a difference, take people to that next level by influencing them in a positive way, handing to them the confidence that you have. When you are confident, you permit them to be confident. They realize, oh, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay, because it is, if they're being led by someone who actually believes it and knows it. And I know that you're capable of that. So any thoughts or questions before we wrap it up with some closing affirmations?
That was a great topic, John.
Thank you, Brandon. All right, gang. Well, let's finish this up. Great conversation to begin the week with. You can take this, carry it with you, build your confidence on a daily basis, and go out